How can we ever get to know anyone, even ourselves, if we do not practice the art of listening? That is what we're discussing today. It's something so vital in building a community. It's so vital in building one-on-one personal relations with each other. It's so vital to get to know your inner self by listening to yourself. Sounds very simple. We all think we listen. You know, we can sit in front of a television and watch YouTube videos, or listening to our spouse or friends or anyone. How often now pay attention through your daily life? How often do you find that you see people interrupting other people? You may be guilty of it. We have all been guilty of it. Words limit us. We can't just give everything that's inside us and say, here, there you go, now you understand. No, we are restricted. We have to use the language that we know to communicate what we are thinking and what we are feeling, what we want to accomplish, anything that we want to do in life. We have to use words to express that to someone else. If us on the other end, listening to that, we say, oh no, I got to interject this point right now. That is a massive form of disrespect. It means you do not value that person's expression as much as you value your own. And that is an egocentric problem with, oh, what I have to say overrides you at this moment. And then you break their river of thought. And breaking that river of thought is like just throwing big, huge concrete boulders into the middle of the river, filling it up, making a dam. They're not able to flow with that thought anymore. You can't know someone unless you sit with awareness and with intent on listening. When you're engaged in a conversation, if all of a sudden you feel your ego just building up or you just have to interject, that means there is inner work to be done, which is one of the things that we do here. We practice this on a regular basis. Things that seem so simple are normally not so simple because we get in the way of ourselves, which in turn gets in the way of others expressing themselves to us. And we can never get the things in life that we want, whether it is love, going somewhere, or wealth, or anything, without being able to articulately communicate to the other. And in the same token, they have to be receptive and aware and intent on listening to you. More often than not, we'll be in a conversation and I can say something or you will say something, and the other person listening will interrupt because they feel like they know how your sentence is going to end and they want to throw in their two cents. That is not a good practice because they, more often than not, are not going to finish their sentence or the remaining parts of their thought on the exact same way you thought it was going to be. So you're doing them a disservice, doing yourself a disservice by doing that. Now we have to take into consideration too, what do you do in these explosive times? Like, let's say you and your friend or you and your spouse, or just, there's friction. And the only way to resolve friction is to openly and honestly communicate. Well, if one party is heated and they're elevated, they're irritated at you, they just rah. Let them vent. Let them vent. And then gently, with a calm voice, let them explain themselves. Practicing listening requires patience. Just like listening to this video or anything. It takes patience, awareness, and intent on learning everything you possibly can about what that person is trying to express. If you are wanting to connect with that person on a deeper level of understanding. If not, what's the point, really? I'm talking about deep relationships, building them, maintaining them, and allowing them to blossom and flourish. We cannot go about life interrupting people, which instantly suggests to them and everyone else that's involved or present to know that you feel like you are more important. What you have to say is more valuable than what they are saying. And then that means you are never going to get what you want. You're not going to get them to help you do something else. You're not going to get them to want to go with you somewhere. You're not going to get them to fall deeper in love with you. You're not going to be able to do this particular business deal, most likely. Because, why? You're giving them disrespect. You're making them not like you. Let people finish their thoughts. Let people do their best to express themselves, what they're thinking, what they're feeling, in order that you may respond in a way that can articulate your own thoughts, whether it is a rebuttal to something or whether it is to try to cool off a heated discussion. Sometimes you're not able to discuss something because you can't listen, because they're irate. Well, that's a whole different set of circumstances. That's something where you just have to create open space with people. Like, okay, I'm physically going to have to remove myself until you are in a better position for us to have a meaningful conversation. But in order to develop deep, deep layers of love and trust and safety within a relationship, it requires us to be very intent, to the point when that person begins to talk or before they do, you consciously tell yourself, I am intending to absorb what they are saying. I am going to practice right now being aware of their words, letting them soak in, not thinking about what I need to say in response. You have to be a sponge. You have to absorb what they are saying. Then let that sit for a moment. There's no need for us to instantly jump into a diatribe of whatever we feel like we have to. Not necessarily suppressing that urge, thanking that urge. Thank you. I know we have things to say. I know all of these internal people in here need to express this point to this person. That's fine. Thanks. We don't know exactly what we want to express until they finish their thought. And then it can be the mutual dialogue, back and forth. Let them finish. You talk. If they interrupt, tell them they're interrupting. Be very polite about it. I'd like to finish this thought. No, I wasn't thinking that, so you didn't need to interrupt me with that. Let me finish. It lets people know that, hey, okay, I guess I was being a little rude. And then you can know, too, when someone is interrupting like that, where you stand with them more often than not. Because if people continuously continue to do that, it means they place themselves on some higher level than you, and everything that they say is vastly more valuable than what you're saying in their mind. And then you have to decide, is that the kind of person I want to continue to listen, to try to carry on a conversation, to attempt to listen to them, when they won't give me the respect of listening to me. The point is, there is no valuable relationship unless there is listening on both parts with intent, with an open mind, to have an honest, deliberate dialogue about whatever subject is at hand. That's one of the things that we work on here. I appreciate all of you that have subscribed and joined us. And we are the Mystics of Texas. You can come out and visit us if you're in the local area, 1:30 every Sunday. Thanks.